You finally landed the senior role. You have the team, the budget, and the responsibilities. You thought the hard work was over and you could finally leverage your time. Instead, recent data shows that high achievers are working more hours than ever, yet feeling less effective. You look at your to-do list at 5 p.m., and despite being busy all day, you realize you haven't moved the needle on a single revenue-generating project. Welcome to the productivity paradox. This isn't a time management issue. It is a specific behavioral trap that keeps smart professionals plateauing. Hi everyone, welcome back to Smart Money Realities. Today we are dissecting a phenomenon that destroys more potential wealth than inflation or taxes combined: the inability to focus. The reality is, if you look at the habits of the top 1% of earners, people like Jeff Bezos or top hedge fund managers, they aren't working 100-hour weeks because they have to. They are operating on a completely different psychological framework. They don't manage time, they manage energy and attention. Today we are going to look at the brutal math nobody calculates regarding your attention span. We're going to cover the 5 behavioral psychology principles that separate the truly productive from the merely busy, and the precise system you need to reclaim your time. The multitasking trap. Let's look at a concrete case study of how most high earners destroy their own output. You sit down to write a report. You have your email open on one monitor, Slack on the other, and your phone face up on the desk. You think you are multitasking. You think you are being efficient. Here is the reality check. Multitasking is a biological impossibility for the human brain. Stanford University researchers conducted a study comparing heavy multitaskers against those who single task. They found that heavy multitaskers, the people who pride themselves on juggling everything, were significantly worse at organizing their thoughts and filtering out irrelevant information. The data shows that when you switch contexts, you lose up to 40% of your productivity. It's called switching cost. Every time you glance at a notification, your brain has to offload the current task, load the context of the message, decide on a response, and then try to reload the original task. This is the most mathematically devastating trap for your career. If you are operating at 60% capacity because of context switching, you are voluntarily taking a 40% pay cut on your potential output. You are working harder to achieve less. The deep work asset. So how do smart, successful people avoid this? They treat focus as a scarce commodity. This brings us to the concept of deep work. The top 10% of performers rigorously prioritize just 1 to 3 most important tasks, MITs, per day. They understand a principle that most middle managers ignore: the Pareto principle. 20% of your activities result in 80% of your financial results. The typical professional spends 28% of their work week just managing email. That is low-value, shallow work. Wealth is having options, and you cannot build wealth if you are drowning in shallow work. Here is the solution. You must batch your low-value tasks. Do not check email every 10 minutes. Check it twice a day. The goal isn't to look responsive to your colleagues. The goal is to be effective. When you block out 2 hours for deep, uninterrupted work on a revenue-generating task, you produce more value than your peers do in 8 hours of distracted busyness. The Zeigarnik Effect, mental RAM. Trap number 2 is relying on your brain to hold your to-do list. This is pure behavioral psychology. There is a concept called the Zeigarnik Effect. It states that the human brain remembers unfinished tasks better than finished ones. Essentially, your brain opens a loop for every incomplete task and constantly refreshes it, using up your glucose and mental energy. It's like having 50 tabs open in your web browser. Eventually, the computer crashes. If you feel exhausted by 2 p.m., it's not always physical fatigue. It is cognitive overload. To fix this, you need to externalize your executive function. High achievers use written goals and concrete action plans. By writing a task down, you signal to your brain that the information is safe, which allows the loop to close. This frees up your mental RAM for problem solving. Don't panic about the number of things you have to do. Just get them out of your head and onto paper. The recovery ROI. You might be asking yourself, if I want to get ahead, shouldn't I just sleep less and work more? Here is the brutal math nobody calculates regarding sleep. Jeff Bezos has famously stated he prioritizes 8 hours of sleep. Why? Because as a senior executive, he makes a small number of high-stakes decisions every day. If his decision quality drops by even 5% due to fatigue, it could cost billions. Research supports this. Sleep and exercise release GABA, a neurotransmitter that improves focus and self-control. If you are burning the candle at both ends, you are falling into the high-income trap of diminishing returns. You are trading your cognitive asset, your brain, for a few extra hours of low-quality work. You get to feel productive today, but you become less effective tomorrow. Treat recovery like a fixed cost in your business budget. It is non-negotiable. Environmental architecture. Finally, let's talk about your environment. Princeton research found that physical clutter in your surroundings competes for your attention, resulting in decreased performance and increased stress. It acts exactly like multitasking. If your desk is covered in old invoices, unread mail, and random wires, your visual cortex is constantly processing that stimuli. Design a low-distraction environment. If you want to enter a flow state, you must remove the friction, clean your desk, turn off the notifications. The goal isn't to have a pretty workspace for Instagram. The goal is to remove the cognitive load so you can focus on what actually builds your net worth. Conclusion. Here is the reality. Being busy is a frantic state of existence. Being productive is a focused state of execution. If you found value in this breakdown, I have a challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, single task. Close the tabs, hide the phone, and measure your output. You will be shocked at the difference. Comment below with the one busy work habit you are going to cut this week. Thanks for watching Smart Money Realities, and I'll see you in the next one.